This is the final moment of Rowan Malcolm, a 52-year-old man whose life ended in the most unthinkable way. What started as a heated argument with his wife inside a busy shopping mall, surrounded by shoppers, noise, and security cameras, quickly spiraled out of control. Voices were raised, tempers flared, and within seconds, the confrontation turned deadly. In front of stunned witnesses, his wife pulled out a gun and shot him multiple times, turning a public place into a crime scene and a marital dispute into a moment of irreversible horror.
A woman in jail accused of killing her own husband, and she apparently told detectives that she did it because she was, quote, at her wit's end over infidelity issues. Local 10's crime specialist Bridget Matter live now outside the jail where she's being held with the details. Bridget.
The report goes on to say that Malcolm had contemplated suicide, but as her husband was bleeding on the ground, he said something that changed her mind, and she shot him one more time.
Officers made entry into the residence to check on the well-being of anybody who may be inside. They did come across and encounter one male individual who had suffered multiple gunshot wounds.
In late August 2024, Rowan Malcolm, a 52-year-old former IT specialist at the Jamaica Observer, was fatally shot by his wife, Denise Malcolm, 45, in their Coral Springs, Florida home. The incident occurred following a heated argument over alleged infidelity. One of their 14-year-old twin sons heard the gunshots and discovered his father bleeding. He then called 911 to report the shooting. Denise was subsequently arrested and charged with first-degree premeditated murder. Denise Malcolm was born on March 15, 1979, in Miami, Florida. She grew up in the area, where she developed a strong sense of family and community. Denise, a 45-year-old woman who had spent years trying to make her marriage work, found herself at a crossroads, struggling with her feelings of betrayal and the growing emotional distance between her and Rowan. Rowan Malcolm, born on July 22, 1972, in Kingston, Jamaica, moved to the United States in his early 20s in search of better career opportunities and a fresh start. He was a 52-year-old man with a history of infidelity, had begun an affair that Denise would eventually discover, changing everything. Despite their attempts to rebuild their relationship after the revelation, the trust between them had been broken beyond repair. Their once shared intimacy was replaced with constant arguments, and soon, they found themselves sleeping in separate rooms. Before we calm the story, we want to extend our deepest condolences to the friends and loved ones of Rowan Malcolm. This unimaginable loss has left a void that can never be filled, and our thoughts are with all those who knew and cherished her during this difficult time. The couple first met in the late 1990s, when Rowan had settled in Florida and began working in the IT field. Denise was working as a receptionist at a local law firm when their paths crossed at a social gathering hosted by mutual friends. The two instantly hit it off, sharing common interests and a similar sense of humor. Over time, their relationship grew stronger, and they eventually married in 2001, starting their family shortly thereafter. They spent over a decade building a life together, raising their twin sons, and creating what seemed to be an ordinary suburban existence, until infidelity began to unravel the fabric of their marriage. Denise and Rowan Malcolm's relationship began like many others, with the promise of love and companionship, culminating in a 14-year marriage and the birth of twin sons. From the outside, they appeared to have a typical family life, balancing their careers, family obligations, and daily routines. However, beneath the surface, cracks were beginning to form in their marriage long before the events that would ultimately shatter their lives. Their marriage, however, took a tragic turn after a single act of betrayal that ultimately led to a devastating conclusion. The turmoil began in 2022, when Denise discovered that Rowan had been unfaithful. Though the couple attempted to salvage their marriage, the trust between them had been irreparably damaged. Arguments became frequent, and their once close bond deteriorated to the point where they started sleeping in separate bedrooms. On August 31, 2024, the tension between them reached a breaking point. Earlier that day, the couple had gone shopping for a Labor Day barbecue. During the outing, Rowan announced that he was planning to go to Port St. Lucie, Florida, with his friends. While this might have seemed like an innocent trip for most couples, to Denise, it felt like a pretext for an affair. Her suspicions ignited a heated argument that further escalated their already strained relationship. Later that evening, at approximately 6:32 p.m., the Coral Springs Police Department in Florida received a 911 call from one of the couple's 14-year-old sons. He reported that his father had been shot but was still alive. Within minutes, officers arrived at the scene, shouting commands for everyone inside to come out. The twin sons exited the house safely, but Denise remained inside. Suddenly, a gunshot rang out, which authorities believe was the fatal shot that killed 52-year-old Rohan. When Denise finally exited the house, she was taken into custody. Inside the home, officers found Rohan lying on his back in a bedroom, suffering from multiple gunshot wounds. Blood pooled beneath him, and despite their efforts, officers found no signs of life.
Today, a woman in jail accused of killing her own husband, and she apparently told detectives that she did it because she was, quote, at her wit's end over infidelity issues. Local 10's crime specialist Bridget Matter live now outside the jail where she's being held with the details. Bridget.
Calvin, this is all according to new court records. It says that this woman told detectives she found out her husband was cheating on her, so she killed him.
According to the police report, one of the twins told investigators that he had been in his room, eating Chinese food and listening to music with headphones on, when he heard 2 or 3 loud bangs. Startled, he ran out and saw his mother standing in the doorway with a handgun, while his father was slumped over with a gunshot wound to his shoulder.
And the report says after a heated argument, that's when those shots went off, and this woman is now in jail on no bond.
By the way, we share true crime stories and bizarre cases that will leave you captivated. If you enjoy this type of content, we'd love for you to subscribe to our channel. Your support not only means the world to us, but also helps us continue bringing these stories to you. The other twin, who had been in the living room, also heard the shots and immediately ran to the garage to seek safety. Both brothers told investigators that their parents often argued about Rohan's relationships with other women and that the couple had been living separately within the home for some time. After being detained and read her rights, Denise confessed to the shooting. She admitted to police that her husband had been unfaithful for 2 years and that the continuous arguments and emotional turmoil had pushed her to her breaking point. Denise stated that when Rohan mentioned his plans to visit Port St. Lucie, she interpreted it as an excuse to meet another woman. After nearly an hour of arguing, Denise retrieved a handgun from her bedroom closet and fired at Rohan several times while standing in the doorway of his room.
The report goes on to say that Malcolm had contemplated suicide, but as her husband was bleeding on the ground, he said something that changed her mind, and she shot him one more time.
She claimed that Rohan said something in his final moments that triggered her to fire the fatal shot. After the shooting, Denise placed the weapon on a dresser, walked out of the bedroom, and exited the house, where she surrendered to the police. Despite her initial thoughts of taking her own life, the situation escalated to a point of no return.
25-year-old Denise Malcolm is facing a first-degree murder charge in the death of her husband, Rohan Malcolm. A lengthy arrest affidavit lays out that Denise was, quote, at her wit's end with his lies and deceit over allegations her husband was cheating. Following a 45-minute fight, police say Malcolm shot her husband multiple times.
Denise now faces charges of first-degree premeditated murder, leaving her family shattered and forever marked by the events of that fateful day. As of December 2024,
Malcolm appeared in court.
Ms. Malcolm, you are here on 1 count of premeditated murder.
The officers made entry into the residence to check on the well-being of anybody who may be inside. They did come across and encounter one male individual who had suffered multiple gunshot wounds.
Denise Malcolm remains in custody at Broward County Jail, where she is being held without bond on charges of first-degree murder. Her actions have stunned many, as the killing of her husband, Rohan, seemed to be the result of a buildup of emotional pain and anger stemming from years of infidelity and constant arguments. While the shocking nature of Denise's crime has captured widespread attention, it's important to note that her case is far from unique. Unfortunately, she is not the only woman to let rage and betrayal drive her to such extreme measures after discovering her husband's unfaithfulness. Throughout history, there have been numerous instances where the discovery of a spouse's affair has triggered overwhelming emotions, sometimes leading to tragic outcomes. Denise's actions, while extreme, reflect a broader pattern of how betrayal can unravel a person's emotional stability, especially when the sense of trust and security in a marriage is shattered. Many women, like Denise, feel a deep sense of betrayal when they discover their partners have been unfaithful, and in some cases, the resulting emotions of anger, hurt, and humiliation can cloud their judgment. In the most unfortunate scenarios, this emotional turmoil culminates in violence, as it did with Denise, highlighting the dangerous impact that unresolved conflict and emotional distress can have on someone's mental and emotional well-being. Denise's situation raises broader questions about the ways in which we handle betrayal in relationships and the emotional toll it can take. While it's impossible to justify her actions, it's essential to recognize that her response, however tragic, may be rooted in years of unresolved pain. It serves as a grim reminder of the profound impact that infidelity and marital strife can have on a person, and how, for some, the weight of that emotional burden can lead them down a dark and irreversible path. Please subscribe to the channel to get the latest videos first. Thank you for watching another one of our videos. If you enjoyed the way we present these stories or learned something new, please give this video a thumbs up and share with your friend and community. We'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Your insights or experiences might inspire or help someone else. We'll be back soon with another intriguing story. Until then, take care and see you next time.